welcome back to another episode in the Spotlight series. We're back with a pair of another very talented artists, Shreya and Jhilmil. So, hi Shreya, can you please begin with your introduction?
Hi, I am Shreya. I've been training in Kathak for the past 16 years. I had a small break after my 12th because I went for graduation I moved to another city, so I had a little break there. Currently, I am pursuing my master's in interior designing from the Design Village. And I've
Hi Shreya,
Okay,
welcome. Yeah, so please go ahead. Hi.
yes. So my name is Jhilmil Rathore. I'm a writer, and I've done my bachelor's in psychology, sociology, English. I think that really like helps me in what I write and how I write. And I have pursued my master's in counseling psychology.
Welcome. Welcome to Spotlight.
You
So, let's start with Shreya. Shreya, your mother enrolled you in Kathak at the age of 5, and then you felt scolded for the missteps. So, what's one specific correction you hated the most then, but love it now?
So when I was young, because all like we're very conscious, right? When we're young, कि class में डांट पड़ गई and everything. So when I initially started, I was very stiff. I did not know how to, even move my hands or legs, anything. So like Guruma then used to just scold me for everything, everything, even my eye movements, my hand movements, how I used to take my chakkars, everything I used to get scolded at. Not screamed at, just kataksh way mein bola, but still it used to hurt a lot. And every time that I came back home, I used to tell Mama कि नहीं बस अब हो गया, I don't want to go again. I can't go again. सब लोग हंसते हैं मेरे से नहीं होता है और so, but now I really take that criticism very well. I know how to, progress with it. I know कि वो मेरे अच्छे के लिए ही बोल रही है, so that I, become a good dancer. She really like appreciates it now. तब तो मैं बहुत रो के घर आती थी, but now I know how to handle it. I know how I have to deal with it और मेरे को कैसे better होना है.
That's great, Shreya. So, we're starting with you. That's great. You also started writing as a teenager with no one to confide in. So, what's one early diary line that still echoes for you? You still go back to?
So, like you mentioned, I started writing when I was really young, and it was like a sort of a cathartic beginning for me, like with like what I was going through in life. And I was like, I think in eighth or ninth grade, so very like 13, 14 years of age. And there's no line in particular that I remember, but I still like, I sometimes go back to see that diary, and there are like scribbles on the diary, like where there's like really harsh, like, when you like pierce through the diary because there's so much emotion, there's so much anger, there's so much confusion, there's so much, emotion that I had like gibberish written, but I really remember like the way I had like just pierced through the notebook because I was going through so much, and I had like not really like any support system that I could really like confide in or talk to. So that diary, that yellow diary meant a lot to me then.
So, doodling. Okay. So, Shreya, you describe a turning point when studies forced you to stop, and then the days felt hollow. So, like after those days, what did you do the first thing when you got back at practice doing Kathak again?
Yeah, so in between, I used to come back. Like when I used to visit home, I used to go back to classes just to see. I could not practice back then. I used to just go see classes, like sit there and just see. So when I came back, I really had that thing कि मेरे को वापस join करना है. And I knew कि मैं अब join करूँगी तो I won't be able to go in my previous batch that I was practicing in. I'll have to join a junior batch. So that was also one thing that I did not want to do. But after talking to Guruma, she said कि ठीक है, go in a junior batch. revise everything, and धीरे धीरे you will be able to, go to your previous batch that you used to go to. But तब भी when I went for the first day, even though it was a junior batch, very basic batch, it was really, really, I felt like I'm back home, like where I belong. I couldn't, like, it was so, I was so happy. My body was very stiff. I could not do anything. बहुत मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा था कि मैं क्यों कर रही हूँ. But still, I was so happy. I was so at peace कि finally I'm back home.
Yeah, great. So,
Yeah.
Shreya, you told us that you did your counseling psychology, right?
I
Jhilmil.
did,
Your
yes.
training, yes. So, how does this show up in the stories that you tell? Like,
So not just counseling, but like having studied triple majors, like I said, psychology, sociology, and English, that really like opened like the way like I viewed the world and the perspective that I brought into my writing. So it's not just like from a counseling or like a psychology perspective, but it's also sort of from a sociological and like literary perspective where like I like my even also because I was born in Jaipur but brought up in Tamil Nadu. I had that like worldview where I did not view things as like black and white. It just was a lot of gray for me and a lot of different perspectives. So I think that really like helped me make it like my superpower. I think like being able to like write through observations and just mere observations that all of us look at in daily life, but I turn it into something that you really read and reflect on, like, yeah, how did I miss that, like how did I not think of it in this way. uh, I call my writing observational writing, like, observational comedy. Like you must have seen stand-up comedy where they observe small things in life and they make it like really funny. So that is how I write. Like I see small things in life and I make it something that is really meaningful that could, resonate with the people who are reading it as well as just me. So yeah.
we just got to know about a little about your writing process through your answer right now. Thank you for that. So, Shreya, we got a question for you. How do Tatkar, if I'm pronouncing it right,
Yeah.
Tatkar drills translate when life feels chaotic off stage?
In my daily life, everything is very chaotic because I have to manage college, home, Kathak, everything. Uh, Plus, I take a few freelance projects as well. So everything gets very chaotic. But sometimes I just put on some like Tal Varna, that is my Kathak ka bowl, okay? तो वो डाल के I just listen to it. It's a like it's rhythm. तो वो एक दो तीन चार पाँच छः सात आठ, तो like it just calms me down. It makes me focus on what I have to do, how I have to organize my thoughts, how I have to organize my day as such. तो वो like it is like a meditation की जैसे ओम बोलते तो you get meditated, right? You center yourself. तो वो वैसे ही ताल तत्कार इज तत्कार में ज्यादा नहीं हो पाती because it's footwork. So I like बैठ के I can't do that. But जब ताल वाना डालती हूँ तो फिर थोड़ा बहुत वो सेंटर हो जाता है and it feels meditative.
So, Kachit gives you that center. Life में बहुत चीजें चल रही हो तो एक center to get back to
Yeah.
stable होना. Okay. Nice. So, Jhilmil, you mentioned that you work with an NGO and you do it, right?
Yes.
So you write for them.
Yes, I do. Yes, I write for them.
What moment made you realize that this this cause needed your voice?
You're talking about like children with special needs, why I write about them.
Yeah. Huh.
So I felt like for the longest time, not just like NRF is something that I've been like the organization I've been associated for the like last, I think, 8 months. But long before that, I was working in a school. Then I thought like I felt my thoughts were just mine, and I thought that there weren't enough people that I could talk to about this, and the fact that I hadn't seen many people write about the same, like write about children with special needs, and from their perspective and from the perspective of somebody who is working with them closely and like seeing what their struggle is, seeing what are the gaps in, the kind of opportunities that they sometimes get and then they miss out on. Um, and I think, yeah, that really like made me passionate about working with them as well as like giving them a voice because I could like, that like I feel like I'm privileged that I have this way of like thinking and like way of writing that I could, give them like I feel like we all owe them this all of us, like even if you are a Kathak dancer, even if you are like somebody who anybody, whoever can give them a voice through whatever art they're pursuing, it's our right because they need us and they will not be able to communicate what they need, but because we are around them and we can see them struggle and we can see what they need, I think it's our duty to do that. So I felt like I was doing my duty by writing about them.
And each and every single voice matters. Going back to Kathak again.
Uh,
Shreya, I was reading your Google form. You have participated in a lot of competitions like inter-schools and you have won a lot of medals. So,
Right.
what competition taught you more than any win has ever?
So I still remember because that was my only, competition that we did not get selected in. I was in 11th grade. Um I had just made vice president dance that year. So it was my duty to, train everyone, like choreograph back then. And we did not get qualified for nationals. We got qualified for zonals, but we did not get qualified for nationals. And that was actually I don't know how to describe it, but that was a failure on my part. I felt that, we have been participating in this event since like 4 5 years, and we've been winning. We have been securing first position every year. And this year, when it was my responsibility to teach everyone and get them, uh, you know, in that spirit, I could not. So, but gradually I understood that it was not only my fault. It is a because it was a team. Everyone had to, put in their efforts as well. It was not that the choreography was not good or the music was not good. It was just that that year we did not fully like participate with full enthusiasm and full motivation, and that's it. So that taught me that, teamwork makes a very big difference rather than just putting individual work in it.
Yeah, so working all together with the team.
Yeah.
This is what I mean to say. Okay. So writing. Yeah. So Jhilmil, you mentioned that you started writing diaries, diary entries. Now you write for the public websites, which is a massive shift from diary entries to public websites. So what scared you the most about your first publish?
think like sort of like I used to post on my Instagram quite a bit like during the pandemic, but that just was like still like people sometimes would read and it would mostly be people I was already like close to and my friends and all. But yeah, like certainly letting the world into my little world was like a scary thought because these are thoughts that are like on my mind and they're like personal to me, right? But like, yeah, I would often share my ideas and thoughts with my closest friends and we would discuss it. But having people read it and make their own assumptions, draw their own conclusions was intimidating at first. But of course, over the time, the encouragement, the constructive criticism, which, always helps, and the feedback pushed me to publish more. Also, thanks to NRF and Monica ma'am, she let me write whatever I wanted and never sent back any of my work. And that really like pushed me to explore more ideas and themes that I wouldn't have otherwise because usually people have their own topics and themes and what should be written and how it should be written in mind, right? And it really like interferes in your creative spirit and like your liberty. So I think, yeah, like having a space as good as NRF really helped. in this whole process of, from private to public.
So thanks to NR. Like, Uh, so Kathak, Shreya, it's called Abhinay.
Yeah,
So Abhinay is storytelling with a face,
right.
the expressions. So was there a piece, like since your Kathak learning journey, where your own life cracked the expression open? Abhinay is, expressing your emotions. Abhinay in Kathak.
My personal life and Kathak are two separate things. I do not mix them. So, like even if I take learnings from Kathak, I do not mix it with my personal life. But yeah, Abhinay has taught me how to mask my emotions very well. I do not let anyone, even if I'm sad or, very baffled, I know how to put a smile on my face and still, continue with my journey. Because I do not like people seeing how I'm feeling, or if I'm baffled, if I'm in, like if I have anxiety, I have very big stage fright. So I think keeping my emotions in check, how to, you know, deceive people with my face, I know how to do that because of Kathak, I feel.
You have stage fright.
Yeah.
I I watched the video that you submitted. I don't know much about Kathak. I have no personally no interest in watching Kathak, but it was so graceful that I watched the entire video, though I didn't understand anything at all. But it was very grateful, very impressive. When anxiety spikes now, do you still go back to the page first, or has the process changed now?
So I think it has changed, and I have learned to regulate it better now. I have built safe spaces and friendships and relationships I confide in when I get very anxious. And of course, crying really helps, and it always helps. And I have a very healthy relationship with crying my heart out. Writing for me, well, has now taken a different meaning. It helps me make sense of things. My mind is always wandering, and it's in a perpetual, state of curiosity. So writing it down helps me stay calm and present with the world so that, like, my thoughts don't take me somewhere else and I just, burst out. But yeah, it has changed, but in certain situations it does help as well.
I've also heard that writing helps heal the brain. Do you experience that
Yes.
when you write? It does, right? It
Yeah,
helps.
I do. Like I don't know about healing the brain, but like, yeah, it's like there's so many things that keeps going, especially now with social media and this constant, dopamine and this constant information. This you need to like sit and process things, and writing is that one way that it's the easiest way to like process things, right? Other than talking about it, of course. But talking about it also is like an exchange of like ideas, and it's a lot of back and forth. But like sitting and writing down whatever you think and making sense of things on your own does really, like, I think in a way heals the brain, maybe. Yeah.
Or maybe calms the nervous system down. Might
Yeah.
be. So, Shreya, you completed your Nritya Bhushan,
Right.
which needs a lot of rigor, like a lot of practice, dedication. So, what daily habit kept you showing up when you didn't have any motivation, like, didn't feel like going, practicing? So, what helped you then?
Honestly, mummy had pushed, if she hadn't pushed me, I think I would have left it in my first year only. She has been like the constant support, constant motivation कि नहीं जाना है करना है तो करना है. You cannot leave this. You do not have anything else except from studies to do anything else. You need one art form that helps you release your stress, helps you release your anxiety. You need to do that. Even if mama used to say, even if नहीं आता है तेरे को, पीछे खड़ी हुई है, कुछ भी है, whatever it is, कितनी भी डांट पड़ रही है, you need to go, you need to learn something that, apart from your studies, apart from everything else, so that you have something, in life आगे that separates you from the crowd. सब लोग पढ़ रहे हैं, सब लोग सब कुछ कर रहे हैं. Some one thing, one art form that separates you from the crowd. And she was very, very determined on that. So that is why I think I've reached to this point. Otherwise, I would not have.
You have an amazing
Bachpan
mother. You
mein,
should be very lucky.
yes, that was what I was about to say. That we all need parents like your mom. Uh, she's supportive. So I think we, all of us, we understand this now, how important it is to have, one thing that you excel in, except for studying. So, सब पढ़ रहे हैं, कॉलेज में सब पढ़ ही रहे हैं. So, right, true. So, just Shreya, you write for Neuro8.in. So, what, what work of yours surprised you by the way readers responded to your writing?
So there haven't been any like surprising responses because people who usually read my blogs are people I know personally, and their responses, especially their resonance with my piece, always makes me feel good and it stays with me. There was a time I hated being relatable actually. Whatever I would write, I had this sense of like possessiveness towards my experience that I did not want. Like, I could not like fathom the thought कि कोई और भी इस चीज से गुजर रहा है, because I used like it's my like I had the sense of like कि it could only be me who is going through this and you can never understand sort of a thing. So, so for me it was not surprising, but it was like I felt like it was very wholesome for me. This whole experience changed the way I took feedback, and I didn't appreciate people relating before. It was so personal that the thought of someone else going through the same thing was just annoying. But I was a teen then, of course, I had my moods, but I think it really came from a naive place. So the responses are not surprising. It's just like really wholesome, and I'm like, yeah, thank you, and I'm glad that you're able to relate to this because it helps when you have somebody you can relate to, because then you feel less alone in what you're going through. So that how powerful that can be, I realized much later. But when I was a teen, I hated it.
This was a little relatable.
Yeah,
Being possessive of your own emotions. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Shreya, you said that Kathak is your center, your home. जब सब chaotic है, तो कथक ही स्टेबिलिटी प्रोवाइड करेगा, सेंटर स्ट्रेंथ देगा. तो वो कथक ऐसा क्या करता है जो वर्ड्स नहीं कर पाते? जैसे वी डोंट हैव कथक, वी ओनली हैव वर्ड्स. कथक कैसे क्या डिफरेंस है देन द वर्ड्स?
So, I have tried multiple forms. Even I have tried writing my emotions. Okay, I have tried drawing it out. I have tried, just running. Like, jab everything is overwhelming, I've tried to go running. I've tried many things to center myself. But, I think coming back to Kathak, I do not know how to tell you the emotion, like, how do I spell out the emotion? But coming back to Kathak, it feels so relaxing. It feels so, even if घर पे देर इज नो वन टू स्कोल्ड मी कि ये ठीक नहीं हो रहा है, वो ठीक नहीं हो रहा है, ठीक है, इवन इफ आई डू एवरीथिंग रॉन्ग, इट फील्स कि आई एम सो peaceful at that time. I do not need anyone else. I do not want, like, I am so detached from my personal life, from my work life, that everything just comes into perspective. It comes into, you know everything is in my control over here. No one else is here. No one else can tell me what to do, what not to do. I am it. So I think that is that.
Good answer. But I don't know. I actually have no interest in the dance forms. So not relatable, but yeah, I'm trying to understand, trying to process. So Jhilmil, writing in the private diaries to publishing, you know, publishing to you must have gathered some audience आने के बाद से i- have you experienced certain change writing process में कुछ anxiety हुई हो कुछ अच्छा लगा हो कुछ change in the writing process?
I think the constructive criticism, and like sometimes I have like healthy discussions over what I've written, and sometimes because I write about socio-political things as well, not just about mental health or children. So sometimes these discussions like they take my thinking forward, and it makes me realize a lot of things that, it's like far beyond, like my perspectives I've already taken far beyond like normal understanding of things. But talking about it with people and them bringing their own perspectives, and sometimes them giving like feedback about how certain like the feedback that I get about like this paragraph did not make sense, or like this should have been like, something that there should have been like a more ease into this topic or something like that. It just like I'm like, oh, I'm not used to it, because most of the times I just get a lot of like appreciation for what I've written. But sometimes when I do get that constructive criticism, I do really do like take it back, and like I try to improve next time and like work on my craft.
So the writing process may change happens when you inculcate certain constructive criticism जब आता है. So
Yes.
otherwise the process is same. Writing
Yeah.
process has not changed, like not much.
Right.
Little bit.
Yeah, a little bit like in the way that like um sometimes like the flow of the writing, like I don't really decide what it's going to look like until the very end, because in the beginning it's just like a lot of ideas thrown, and then I have to decide what comes before this and what needs to come after this type of a thing. So all of that gets decided in the end, and that sometimes keeps changing. Sometimes it's like I don't have any subsections and it's just one like full flow of writing of like 4 5 paragraphs. And sometimes it's like I divided them into like sub themes, and then those themes are being explored one by one. So all of those things, yeah, they do keep changing.
So structuring and restructuring, that part
Yeah.
has most of the
Yeah.
changes. So another question to you, Jhilmil. If a peer says that art is just a hobby, so what do you say? Knowing your own mental health journey, like how writing has helped you evolve.
Like I would be offended, because art is not just a hobby, at least not to me. Like, not to be cliche also, but it is the very essence of life for me. Like it's the fuel that like certainly keeps me very sane and going. And art is everything to me personally. It is like how I make sense of the world. It's not just like writing, but like painting, dancing, like everything, like music, and just like the way of life for me. Like I'm a very creative person, I think, a very artistic person, just like how my brain functions as well. I'm not very like rigid or like systematic, or like I'm not somebody who can like sit in front of the computer and just type some codes. Like I've never been that person. I've always been drawn to things that, helps me use my creativity and helps me, like make sense of things and make the like the world around me a better place. So art has a lot to do with all of that I am passionate about. So it's not just a hobby. Please don't say that it's just a hobby.
Yeah. So art provides meaning to everything that we do. Earning, living,
Yeah.
it's like the art is like the creative side of ours, which comes out. It really needs to come out. Same question for you, Shreya. When peers drop art for being unproductive or not being able to see the results quickly, ये नहीं हो रहा, कथक का step to छोड़ दो. So how do you explain the math and discipline that you found in the rhythm?
So I think I have the same answer to it. It's very offensive that people say कि नहीं हो रहा तो छोड़ दो. It's मतलब बहुत जल्द everyone expects results like in an instant कि ओ ये ड्राइंग बन रही है तो फिर अभी ठीक हो जानी चाहिए, अभी पूरी कंप्लीट हो जानी चाहिए. But I feel it doesn't work that way. So, for my bachelor's, I did the CA, okay, but I will like every time उससे पहले भी 11th 12th में भी everyone said कि why do you want to choose a creative field, why do you not want to earn money, थोड़ा कुछ कर ले, sit for hours, you can sit for hours, study, make something of yourself. ये सब कुछ तो side by side भी होता रहेगा, ठीक है. आई थिंक आई वॉज टू नाइव बैक देन कि सबकी बात सुन ली मैंने. आई थॉट कि ठीक है चलो, वैसे भी कमाना इम्पोर्टेंट है, वाई नॉट डू दिस एंड आई विल कंटिन्यू विद कथक साइड बाय साइड. तो बट इट डजंट हैपन दैट वे. like once I started with my CA journey, I could not give time to Kathak. Even in 11th, 12th, it was कि मेरा major chunk of the day was going towards studies, and I could only spare 1 hour a week for Kathak. And it was getting a lot frustrating कि मेरे पास what I want to do, I don't have time for that only. So after that, when I finally chose कि नहीं मेरे से नहीं हो रहा है, I do not want to do CA because there is no creative stimulation, there is no something that I want to do, there is no enjoyment in that. तो मैं क्यों कर रही हूँ? Why am I wasting my own time, my parents' money, everything कि क्योंकि बाकी लोग बोल रहे हैं मेरे को कि you should do something that earns you money. But then I took a gap year. I continued with Kathak. I explored what I want to do, and finally I started preparing for interior. Over there also, I feel like I am at peace, I am at home, because that is where I want to, like, creative कुछ होना चाहिए in my life. I cannot work without it. I will earn money. I can still earn money. ठीक है, I think थोड़ा कम, but I can still earn money over there also. But there should be some creative stimulation to make me happy. I really don't care now what people say. Even if they say कि नहीं है results, it's fine. तुम्हारे लिए नहीं है results, मेरे लिए है.
So another very strong answer. वैसे मुझे दो चीजें हैं which I relate with. Uh, I'm a painter. I paint. So I said when you're painting, so the first layer of paint is like doesn't make sense. So किसी को पसंद ही नहीं आएगी. It takes time. Second layer, third layer, fourth, maybe more. Then it makes sense. उस painting की sense. So it takes time. एक first layer is like हाँ, वो won't make sense to anyone. पसंद भी नहीं आएगा शायद उन्हें. But वो add on layers के बाद layer after layer, people will understand क्या चल रहा है. So every art form takes time. एंड सेकंड जो लोग कहते हैं कि बाद में कर लेना ये सब, वो आई हैव डन दैट और वो बाद में ही हो गया है. तो रिसेंटली आई पिक्ड अप द ब्रश अगेन एंड इट टुक मी टाइम टू गेट यूज्ड टू. भूल गई सब कुछ. लाइक आई वाज इन द फाइन आर्ट सोसाइटी इन माय ग्रेजुएशन. देन ग्रेजुएशन खत्म हुआ, ब्रश ही नहीं उठाया, वो रह गया. So recently I picked up the brush and it took me time. भूल गई मैं हाथ चलाना. So it was very frustrating. I used to love this. Now I've forgotten. कुछ नहीं आ रहा है ना, ABCD gone. So it took me time to get back to it again. And so Jhilmil, you write on different, interesting, also political topics. So what question keeps you up at night which you haven't, written about yet? अभी लिखना बाकी है. So it keeps you up.
I think those questions are personally like about me and like self-discovery sort of like things that like I know about myself. Like I have an idea that I am this person and like this is what I like, just like because I'm so self-aware, like obnoxiously self-aware that yeah, certain aspects of like why I think this way, because also I've studied psychology and that makes me, more like self-aware about what my patterns and why I talk like this or why I feel this way when something like this happens. So it's, I think a lot about like, yeah, myself, which is so personal to me that I have two drafts sitting right now about something that, but I'm just not, I cannot take myself to like actually send it to somebody and like have somebody else read it because it's taken a lot of time to sit and make sense of it myself. Like, because तुम बचपन से you have been, conditioned in a way, and then when you grow up, you realize कि, oh, like, why is it this the way that I respond like this, like to such situations, or like in relationships, in friendships, like why am I this way? Why am I this type of a person with this type of a person? Like why my emotions coming out with this person, but with another person I'm just like fine. Like, what is it that makes me feel on edge with some people? What is it that makes me feel safe with some people? Like, what is it about them, and how does it relate to my childhood, and how does it relate to the patterns of like my the way I've been like I've been growing up, and the parenting that has taken place, and how that contributes to it all. So I think a lot of these questions keep me up at night, and I do write about it sometimes, but I doubt I'm ever going to publish them, because it's just for me to make sense of things. But maybe I will also publish it, because I think people might relate to it. They might also find something to resonate with, and they'll feel like, oh, okay, now what I am going through also makes sense, because somebody else also goes through something similar. So yeah.
So a lot of self-understanding, self-exploring,
Yeah.
moving
भाई
inwards.
खुद को समझने की कोशिश करते हो by like कि
हाँ,
that is how I like that is how right now it helps me write. Okay, I'm like just like curious, not even curious. Sometimes I'm like fed up of like my own patterns of like thinking and responding and reacting and talking. So I'm like, why is it that I am doing this? And it takes a
I
lot of time.
relate to
Like,
that.
it takes a lot
I
of
relate to
time,
that a
and
lot.
yeah. And you have to like stay away from the chaos outside in the world to be able to sit and like really question and try to look for answers. Because like there was a time, like right now I'm on Instagram, but there was a time that I was off social media, and that is when I wrote the most in my life, I think. And that really like helps you center, because when there's so much chaos, and when there's so much noise around you, and it's so easy to take your phone and just scroll, that all this like the internal noise shuts down. And that shutdown can be good sometimes because you need a relief, but at times it's really important to answer that inner voice, that inner noise, because it helps you make sense of things, and it makes you a better version of yourself. Like, really it does. Like, I know a lot of people say that become your better version, but it really does come down to sitting with yourself and thinking about things, and taking that courage to be able to do that.
I relate to that, everything that you said a lot. So I heard this quote somewhere that the only way out is in, moving inwards, knowing yourself better, to make you understand other things around you, clearly. So another question, a Katha question, which is a little tricky, Shreya. If you had, if you could choreograph one personal emotion, what rhythm or movement would that be in? Think about it.
Not so sure.
Anything which pops up, anything.
I feel like लोगों के लिए चक्कर लेना is very difficult. Okay, whenever there are a lot of चक्कers in any choreography, people are like कि थोड़ा कम कर दो, नहीं होगा, इतना चक्कर लेंगे तो सर घूमेगा. ठीक है, but for me चक्कर is like my favorite. I do not shy away from it. Even if there are 47 chakkars in one go, I will do that. I do not shy away from that. So, you know, जब बहुत ज़्यादा मेंटल एग्जॉशन होता है, बहुत ज़्यादा थंडरस्टॉर्म होता है ब्रेन में, ठीक है, आई वुड कोरियोग्राफ दैट इन चक्कर्स. आई I think that is my answer to it.
Chakkar is like when you do that, na, पूरा,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah, वो बहुत सारे कॉर्नर with one step, वो जो जोर से आते हैं, इसकी आवाज आती है.
There are multiple chakkars, okay?
अच्छा,
So,
okay.
हाँ, like 8 पैर के चक्कर, then 5 पैर के चक्कर, then 4, 3, 2, and 1. So it depends on how fast you want to move and what the choreography like entails you to do. But mostly 1 पैर के चक्कर होते हैं कोरियोग्राफी में because बहुत स्पिनी स्पिनी होता है.
मैंने एक तरह चक्कर शायद से देखा था ना वीडियो. Which one do you
Yeah.
like the best? बिल्कुल अच्छे से होता है, अच्छा भी लगता है करके.
I think all of them are my
All
favorite.
them.
ठीक है, yeah, I
Amazing.
think I do not shy away from it even if क्योंकि हमें जब like when you progress, ठीक है, तो फिर हमें minimum like in like 15 minutes we have to do 200 चक्कर्स, 8 5 4 3 2 1 ऐसा, ठीक है, तो minimum 200 होता है and if we stop we have to do it again.
Wow.
तो yeah, so I think that level of perfection, that level of
Patience.
patience,
Patience also.
a lot of time, effort. And I think effort से ज़्यादा it takes that focus, क्योंकि अगर हमने एक spot पे नहीं देखा तो हमारा सर घूमने लगेगा. We'll feel nauseous, we'll want to lie down. तो अगर वो one spot miss हो गया और अगर हमने कहीं और देख लिया तो you feel nauseous, तुम्हारा सर घूमने लगता है. So that also takes a lot of focus, lot of centering yourself कि अब वही spot वापस आना चाहिए, otherwise you'll feel nauseous. So that also I think हाँ, तो
Okay.
third is
I am
in.
amazed, like speechless. I don't know what to say. So how was your reaction, Jhilmil? 200 out of
Yeah, even
15.
100, what the hell? Like, I
है
like
ना?
you wouldn't be able to get like 5 out of me, probably. Like, five is also, I think, a like a number that I
We
don't know.
started
Like,
with that
two,
only, right? We started
yeah.
with 5, then gradually it grew more. So
It
it
went
just
to
takes
200.
that.
Like, do
It just
you find yourself like beating yourself up to like because you set standards for yourself, right? Even in like when you're dancing, do you like often find yourself beating yourself up like disappointed in yourself or feeling like even if those around you are not, but ऐसा होता होगा. Do you experience that?
Of course, I do. Uh, like when I joined again, I was really disappointed with myself कि ओ ये मेरे से कितना आसानी से हो जाता था, अब मैं कर भी नहीं पा रही हूँ. But it just takes patience कि कोई बात नहीं. I've just started doing it again. I will progress. I will do that. वहाँ तक पहुँच जाऊंगी वापस. It's fine. It just takes self-control. I think talking to mommy and just being with myself. It takes that only. Baki, it's fine.
And tons of patience also. Patience meanwhile is just good.
Huh. Same.
Children and I probably also admire your mom so much.
Yeah.
So, Jhilmil, one question to you. If Adyantara, like a company, organizes an open mic, would love to have you on stage. Would love to have you with us. What do you want the listeners to feel in the first 5 minutes after you start speaking? Another tricky question.
Like hopefully like inspired and like
Oh,
relatable because now I'm like all for it. Like I want people to relate to me and like that's like very important to me because I believe in speaking and I believe in how speech can bring people together and it can make you feel like a sense of belongingness. Like when people come together and they, even when safe spaces are created, like support groups are created and communities where you can all get together and speak about things or like at least something that brings you together, binds you, because in today's day and age, like I think that is lacking. So I would really want people to like feel safe, feel comfortable in like the emotions that they're carrying after they listen to what I'm saying, because there are at times you wait to see people around you how they are responding and how they are reacting and you would want to do something similar. But I hope that this open mic for sure like makes people safe enough to like feel what they want to feel without the pressure of like being feeling judged or like misunderstood. So yeah, inspired and relatable.
now to have someone who feels alike actually means a lot. अभी हम
Yeah,
ऐसी जनरेशन the time is like एक click करके we can video call someone. But there's a lot of the gap has increased. Though
yeah.
technologically सब close हो गया है, so just seconds it takes to talk to someone. But वो इतना ज़्यादा gap है, so someone who feels similar to you actually means a lot. Similar question to you, Shreya. That for Adyantra is like performing arts stage. If you get to perform. So what do you hope a beginner, like someone like me who doesn't know anything about Kathak, in the audience notices in your first minute of the performance?
So, like people often, people who do not know anything about Kathak want to see um, difficult moments, very fast moments, and everything. But I feel ki when dance actually is very slow, very delicate, then they understand what Kathak is really about. बहुत चक्कर लेना या बहुत फास्ट मूवमेंट्स करना is still very not very easy. I won't say very easy, but it's still easier as compared to going really slow, because when you go really slow, that is when you know कि ओ एक एक body part हिल रहा है या नहीं हिल रहा है. That is when s- every inch of you moves. So I feel ki if as a beginner you want to see anyone dancing, you should always see like the slowest, form possible, so that you know exactly what Kathak is about, what like how difficult it is to actually move every inch, every eyebrow, every eyelash of your body, like of your face, every finger moves, everything moves. Even your gut moves, your chest moves, everything moves. So if you want to see, like, if I'm performing for any beginner, I would always perform something that is very slow, very gentle, but very yet very graceful.
You are very graceful. I saw your videos. I'm a big fan now. So I don't understand anything, but a huge fan. So this is the last question to both of you. Hope you enjoyed being here. How was your experience, Jhilmil?
Like always, like I always say this, like conversations makes me like mentally stimulating conversation, especially they make me think of so many things that I wouldn't have otherwise. Like every conversation to me is meaningful, even if it like makes me like like annoyed. It instills something in me, right? And I'm all for it. So I loved sitting here and like especially like talking to Shreya about like how it is like to be a dancer and how it's like to the world wanting you to do things differently and you choosing your own path. That is something that I'm sure a lot of people who are going to be audience to this podcast as well are going to like love listening to, because a lot of people need that, like like I haven't had that sort of support, like, or like my parents have let me do whatever I wanted, but this extraordinary amount of support that your mother has shown, that is something that I think a lot of people will love listening to. Yeah, it was really delightful.
And for you, Shreya.
I think I've not, thought about all of these questions before. For me, Kathak is really very personal. I do not talk to anyone about it. So it was actually really, insightful. It was, and talking to Jilmil, I think even if I haven't read your pieces, but I feel if I read it, I'll feel it like I'll sure for sure like it will make me feel that it's very relatable. Like talking to you, but I really want to read some of your pieces.
I
I'll
really
search
want to
your
see. Yes, please share it with me.
yeah.
It's so great to see both the guests connecting. Like the host is gone, the guest chat. So nice. And so thank you, Jhilmil, for being here. Thank you, Shreya, for taking out your time. It means a lot. Thank you, guys. Thank you.